what would really be some of the triggers or attributes
Yep.
of an organization that would have an opportunity around VCT? What other attributes would really begin to suggest that this particular
Yep.
client could be a candidate?
I think the biggest catalyst to attribute is probably globalization, or it's really expansion of business across geographic borders. And interestingly, that could be in a state context, right? Because the 50 states within the U.S. each have their own tax regime. So on a smaller scale, it may very well be a domestic sort of interstate expansion. But obviously a lot more powerful, more complex are the kinds of cross-border transformations where the companies globalize across multiple jurisdictions. So that certainly is one sort of key catalyst for the value chain transformation approach. Another one would be then within each area of the operating model, whether it's the people organization, whether it's business processes, whether it's structuring KPI, management incentives, management control frameworks.
In my experience, I've seen companies approach this in a couple different ways. One of my current clients, their approach was initially to focus on the tax business case. Quite compelling, a multi-million-dollar proposition for them, and that's how the organization focused on it, mobilized resources, and has begun to drive it.
That's a great point, because historically there's been a lot of clients that they found themselves in a similar situation where they were intrigued by the tax value proposition and went about this sort of a restructuring sort of from the tax planning perspective. What many of those companies, and it sounds like your client as well, eventually found is to build the tax model that works in a sustainable really needs to be connected to the business. And so inevitably, sooner or later, the tax planners found there are multiple points of impact on the elements of the operating model, once again, whether it's the people functions, the organization, the reporting lines, the locations of key decision makers, or the impact on business processes that need to be dealt with. Maybe another example similar to that is I'm working currently with the manufacturer of engineered products, which is a US-based multinational company that went out and decided to reorganize or rationalize its European markets. And we worked with them to help them design this sort of a pan-European operating model. In their case, it was dealing with restructuring their management organization in Europe, addressing procure-to-pay and cash-to-order business processes in particular, and rationalizing their product portfolio.
So that's interesting. So in the market, we're seeing clients maybe initially view this as a tax project and will lead it in that fashion. There are clients that see it as a business transformation and then also begin to appreciate that there are tax consequences, tax benefits that they could enjoy. I mean, our view would be obviously a more integrated approach would be preferable. What I'm taking from this is, for organizations that kind of fit into this profile, tremendous opportunity to drive a lot of shareholder value. In a holistic way from both a business and tax standpoint.
That's right, Stephen. And we're all living in an increasingly complex and in the uncertain world. And because of the recent economic pressures that many countries found themselves in, we're finding more and more taxing authorities becoming increasingly aware and aggressive in either scrutinizing or auditing or disputing the kinds of structures that have been put in place. So that's another example for how aligning tax planning with the business, being proactive, is really a key to giving the stakeholders, the shareholders, the kind of value they're looking for that's sustainable.
Alex, thanks again for your insight. Appreciate
Thank you,
your time.
Steve.